2011, down to 628 in 2021. Violent crimes, 19 versus 25 last year, a high of 35 in 2017. Property crimes, 10-year review, down to 609. This is 750 less crimes this year, 2021 versus 2012. You're going to ask yourself, why? Why is crime down? Right here. We had 100% in rapes. We didn't have any rapes in 2021, but our robberies, we had 112%, 0.50. How did we get 112%? We arrested somebody for 2020 robbery. We locked them up in 2021, and we're at 91% for aggravated assault and batteries. As you can look, in the red is the Midwest average. This is compiled by the FBI, and the yellowish green is the national standard. So we far exceed both Midwest and national standards in clearing arrests, clearing cases. Why? How? Highly professional trained staff. State-of-the-art technology and equipment we have for fighting crime. Committed and supported village board, absolutely. Business meetings and accountability, we've had numerous hearings in 2021, vastly higher than we've ever had in any other year, holding these businesses accountable to making sure that they prosecute crime. Community engagement and campaigns with the assistance of the Communications and Marketing Department. Social media has been our friend. Wanted Wednesdays, crucial in solving crimes. 9 p.m. routine, crucial in preventing additional crimes. So by us working with that particular department, we have solved or prevented additional crimes. The other program, the youth supervision program, has been outstanding for the Village of Orland Park. We were the first in the Simon portfolio to have a youth supervision program. I've been told the second largest property owner in the U.S. is Simon Properties. U.S. government being first. Simon representatives throughout the country came out to witness how we apply, how we implement the youth supervision program. 265 people banned from the start of the youth supervision program through the end of the year. 10,542 people denied entry because they didn't meet the criteria of having an adult with them to enter into the mall. We had 0 retail thefts and code of conduct violations pertaining to juveniles during the youth supervision program. That is critical. And this particular program extended through the holiday break, which resulted in 0 significant incidents occurring at the mall. Why else? Mental health. We received a grant for $744,000 by the U.S. Department of Justice because our world-renowned CIT program, the first CIT program in the world to finish the One Mind campaign instituted and hosted by the International Association of Chiefs of Police, which said this, is that you have to have the best practices in the industry as it pertains to mental health from a law enforcement standpoint. Have cooperation with a third-party mental health provider, and as well as having a percentage of number of CIT officers tied to the program. As you can see overall, our program has been very, very successful. Compared to 2017, we're 22% decrease in the calls for mental health. We are 37% decrease in involuntary committals. Involuntary committals is us actually placing somebody in protective custody against their will and transporting them to the hospital. Highly, highly litigious. That's a critical component. And we're down 20.5% on voluntary committals versus 2017. I did some research in 2017. We averaged about 2.5 hours per officer down on a mental health call. This is dramatically down now because we've partnered with Trinity Services, who respond to the scene with us, who eventually take over the scene and transport with the fire department personnel and complete the paperwork there. That frees our officer to go back to fighting crime. But we're not without challenges, ladies and gentlemen. I'd be foolish to tell you we don't have challenges. Our first challenge is weapon arrests. We had 71 firearm arrests in 2021. In 2020, we had 21. This equates to a firearm every 5 days. Here's the number of us per week. These are the kind of firearms that we're recovering on the street. Semi-automatic firearms with quite a bit of ammunition, some of them full automatic machine guns. Unlawful use of weapons offenses that we've had. We had 12 misdemeanors. Class 4, we had 43. Class 1, 2, and 3 are 14. And the Class X felony, we had 2 arrests. Total of 71 in 2021. This is the type of bonds that they're receiving after they get arrested with a firearm. They get a D bond, and 29 of them were I bonds, costing them nothing to get out of jail. And one was a juvenile case. The average bond for a Class X, it's 6 to 30 years in the penitentiary, is cost them only $4,000 to get out of jail. Class 1, 2, and 3, $2,700. A Class 4, only $1,000. And finally, a misdemeanor, less than what it costs for you to get a fine for insurance, $118.
Chief, not to interrupt, but how long is the minimum sentence for a Class X?
Class X is minimum 6 years, maximum 30. Misdemeanor offenses were charged 12 cases with a class offense. 7 arrested had D bonds ordered, an I bond was given in 4 cases. 1 case was charged in juvenile court. It's the type of weapons we're getting. Barrel weapons with 50 rounds in them. Department charged 43 cases of this offense, Class 4. 24 cases had D bonds ordered, and I bond was given on 19 cases. The average D bond amount was less than $2,000 to be posted. Department charged 14 cases with these classes of offense. 8 cases had D bonds, and 1 bond, I bond, and 6. The D bond amount was $4,700 for post on those particular cases. Class 1, 2, 3 weapons, 5 cases were UUW by felon. That means an individual who's been convicted previously with a felony. And let me tell you something. To be convicted in a felony in Cook County is very far and few between. Those were 5 cases of aggravated UUW by felon, 2 cases of aggravated UUW automatic weapon, 2 Class 2s, and 1 class of an aggravated discharge of a firearm. The department charged 2 offenders with this class, a Class X. Both had D bonds ordered with an average of $4,000 posted. The offenses charged in this case were armed habitual criminal, a minimum of 6 to 30, and armed violence, which was a minimum of 15 to 30 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections. $4,000 to get out of jail. Prior convictions. Orland Park arrested 17 offenders who had a prior arrest or conviction in their background at the time of the arrest. This represents 24% of all gun arrest offenders. 2 of these offenders were the Class X offenses. 8 offenders were on I bond. They're on bond. The Orland Park Police Department for a weapons arrest when they committed a new offense. They're not learning. It's a revolving door. New offenses committed include aggravated UUW, domestic battery, delivery of cannabis, aggravated speeding, and criminal trespass to vehicle. And let me tell you about criminal trespass to vehicle. That's commonly charged for people who possess stolen motor vehicles, a misdemeanor offense. 13 or 18% of the offenders were on bond or felony probation when arrested by Orland Park with a gun. 7 of those offenders were out of custody or bond for or were on probation for a felony aggravated UUW at the time of the arrest. 5 offenders were out on bond for an average of bond amount of $250 posted. 2 offenders were on felony probation for aggravated UUW at the time of their arrest. Additionally, note 1 offender was on juvenile probation for home invasion, which is a Class X felony. 18% of the gun offenders violated the terms of the release on bond by either committing a new offense or failing to appear in court. Here's the other challenge we're seeing. Stolen cars. They're climbing. Why are they climbing? People continue to leave their vehicles unlocked and their key in the vehicle. Or they don't have a key in that particular vehicle, but they leave the car unlocked and they have their garage door open, which then they have a car inside the garage, which has this key in the car. Okay. That's been a frustrating concept for us. We are trying to address this concern. We've put sticky notes on cars to keep them locked on the streets. We've knocked on doors when garage doors were left open. We've went out with social media with different campaigns. We're still seeing an increase of people not locking their car doors, leaving their keys inside the vehicle. And finally, our call volume. Our call volume continues to climb. Although crime is down, other calls for service, other needs are increasing. Our number one call in Orland Park is domestics. Domestics. We continue to go back time and time again for people that are in conflict with their loved ones, their children, their siblings. On top of that, calls for service that are not generally police related we're handling. We'll call them quality of life issues. Those will continue on the climb.
2020 driven mostly by COVID.
COVID and civil unrest. We were down on a lot of the protests, and we're occupying a lot of the plazas as a protection measure. And that concludes my presentation. Does anybody have any questions? Just to recap, lowest crime index in 26 years on 10 specific offenses that we are judged by the FBI. We're compared to on an annual basis. It doesn't get any better than that. However, we do have